Hi,
Good
Brian.
morning.
How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. What have you bought today?
Well, today I've been thinking about this one all week, and I don't know if we've talked about this in the past. I think we've had a conversation sort of similar, but what I found myself, especially this past week, in that in the evenings, I usually take time and I kind of close out my day. So I'll take an hour, sometimes two, and just calm the mind, kind of reflect on the day, reflect on where I want to go, and just really take time to absorb it all. And here, especially, I'd say the last couple weeks, I find myself spending more time in rest than and not like rest as in front of television or something like that, but actually just like in solitude with the mind. And of course it comes at a cost because I'm not getting as much done as I want to during the evening hours, but at the same time it feels refreshing, right? So I have this kind of I don't know if guilt is the right word, but I kind of have this two sides of my brain. One side says get up, stay busy, do, and then the other side of my brain says no, wait, we need this time, and we're just going to we're going to use it for that. We're going to use it as like emotional mental rest. So I've
Hmm.
been battling between the two because I have all these thoughts and ideas and things I want to create, but at the same time I find myself spending more time kind of in solitude and rest than before.
Right.
And so I'm trying to figure out the balance because
Excuse me.
I feel like it could be good and or bad, um,
Mm.
to spend that time uh, not doing not doing anything other than just being kind of present in the moment.
Mhm.
And I've had a conversation with a couple people about it, and everybody seems to be in agreement that maybe right now is the time that your body and your mind's telling you it needs more rest than it needs productivity. But I don't know, I have a hard time I have a hard time accepting that because there's that part of me that thinks, well, if you're not doing the things you want and need to be doing, then how are you going to get to where you want to go? That
Right. That's
makes sense.
beautiful. Wow, those are two beautiful distinctions that you make. And it really follows on from when we spoke last week about
Mm.
a sense of urgency that you have. That there's no time and I need to speed up in order to accomplish more, and the goal just seems to be getting further and further away. As I speed up, it seems to get further and further away. And now you're saying that you're able to do more resting, but yet there's that other side of you that still says, but if I'm not productive, and it could be interesting to actually look at what productive means because, Brian, we're so busy in our heads the whole day, and our heads are fabulous for putting a man on the moon, creating a corona vaccine, fabulous. But there's another part of us. There's our body, what we feel things, right? We feel emotions because that's what happens. We feel them in our body. We don't think them, we feel them. We've got
Right.
our bodies, we've got our emotions, but sometimes we kind of walk around just using the small part of ourselves and not coming down. And it's almost like more of you wants to show up. And if you don't allow for the space of the creativity and
Mm.
the confidence to come out, it just is going to nudge you and push and try and come out anyway. And it's coming out now, and let's just sit a little longer. But then this comes in, jumps in, and just says, but you need to show me what you've got at the end of the day. And it's very beautiful. If you think about it like the white page is the space, you need that for the black letters to show up.
Right.
We need the space for the creativity and the energy and the action to be able to come up, for us to know what we want to do next. And what I'd like to offer is, when your head gets busy, just to notice and try not to judge it. Just to notice, wow, I've got this other part that's saying, get up off the couch and go and do. And I hear you. But at the moment, this is where I am. And we spoke about also that idea that you sometimes want to be there or there. We've spoken about the past as well, but not quite here.
Right.
And there's a strong part that's saying, let's just rest here a minute so we can reassess, realign.
Yeah.
Okay, where do we want to go? What does productivity really look like? So it's okay to have that part of you that's like still going push, do, and the other part that's saying, I just want to rest. And that seems to be the stronger part at the moment, because it seems to be winning out. And I think your friends have answered you wisely when they've said, could you just listen to this part for now, without the panic and the stress and the urgency? You'll get there. You'll give it a place. I hear you. Not to judge it. I hear you. But I want to hear this right now. How does that feel when I say that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense, and that's what and that's what I'm feeling, and I have been giving myself that time to just, be in the moment. I'll spend that time often thinking about kind of next steps in my business, next steps with, my podcast, next steps in my writing. And so I've got, like, in the time that I've spent, especially this past week or so, I've got a pretty good plan that I know what I want to go after. It's just a matter of knowing or being able to pick up when the right time is. Like you said, my body, my mind, I think it all wants a little more rest right now than it wants to be productive. But there's always that little voice of fear that, hey, if you don't start doing this, you're just gonna get stuck. Like, I don't want to. I love rest, but I don't want to get stuck.
What does it mean for you to be stuck? That's a beautiful expression. It's precise.
I think for me, it is having a bunch of ideas, having a plan, knowing what my goals are, but for one reason or another, not taking action. So I almost feel as if I get stuck in place, like a car spinning its wheels in the mud or on the ice.
You're paralyzed. You know what you should do, but you're not getting into action. And I think one of the key elements here is that word should.
Yeah.
Like, what you should be doing this, Brian, and you should, and you should, and you should. I think David Burns calls it the shouldy way of life. And very often it doesn't work. You should lose weight and you should be doing all this. What works rather is trying to see what that rests on. And for you clearly said it rests on a sense of fear. But you don't get into action. So possibly the goal or the desire isn't aligned with what you really, really want. Because when it's clear to you, which maybe the rest will give you, then you'll know what the next step is and the next step is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I hadn't thought about it in that perspective of, maybe that's not, something that I'm planning or thinking is not necessarily the right step at this time. Yeah, because I guess I kind of get it in my mind that this is what I got to do. This is what I want to do. And, without really sitting with it and determining if that's the right step for this point in time.
Is this what I really want to do? Or is this what I think I should do because this is what society says success looks like and this looks like? My parents said, or can I sit a minute and just see, what is the legacy I want to leave behind?
Yeah, no, that's good. Leaves a lot to think about. Um, and different way to approach it as well. From pardon me, from my mind, from the mind's perspective. So
Mm.
yeah, I hadn't really thought about that in that way.
Do you kind of feel complete now?
Yeah, no, I think I've got a good way to approach it. Tonight as I kind of wind down the day and I reflect, sit and think about what it is that I'm really truly trying to accomplish and why it's important. And maybe that'll help me kind of balance out what I need, what I should be doing at this time, rather than being get caught up in the kind of the whirlpool of everything.
Right.
That's what it feels like sometimes, kind of like that whirlpool, that swirl of um, thought and idea.
Right, like looping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and if it could just stop, then the clarity could come. It's beautiful that you have a practice of looking back at the end of your day. Um, you could take the intention part and put it at the beginning of your day.
yeah.
What would I like to create in this day, give in this day, serve in this day? Um, that could be take that off and just in the evening have a look back and look at things that you're so grateful for
Right.
and things that you're appreciative of, things that you're grateful for, things that you did get done. And a beautiful practice that I like to do at the end of some of my coaching sessions is if I say, take your right hand,
Mhm. Go ahead. Take
yeah, put it
it.
on your left shoulder,
All right.
and take your left hand and put it on your right shoulder, and
All
give
right.
yourself a good hug.
Yeah.
And then switch them around, your hands around, and give that Brian that's evil and pushing and negative. Say, you're welcome too, kiddo. I love you
Hmm.
too. Give him a hug and welcome him. Welcome him into. There you go. Good job, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
Brian, we want to look at also what happened. And we spent only about 10 minutes coaching, and my feeling was that you got an insight and an epiphany about yourself or about what needs to happen and what you want to do. How was it for you?
It was good. Sometimes I think what a person needs is just kind of confirmation or reassurance of thoughts, whether, from myself or from others. As I've spent time and even a little more time, in this past week for sure. And even, a week prior to that. And um, finding myself spending more time in that place of solitude and reflection, when I start feeling guilty about it because I feel like I'm missing out on productivity, um, as I've talked to people and everybody's reassuring that, hey, you just let your mind rest. It's telling you it needs this time. Listen to it. Um, and I've heard it from a few different people, but hearing it again from you is just it's just a further confirmation that I need to worry less about the things I'm not getting done and spend more time enjoying the really I'm still accomplishing something in solitude, in reflection. It's just a different kind of productivity. Um, it makes me feel kind of like the weary traveler, sooner or later, no matter how far he has to go, he's going to have to stop and let his body rest, his mind rest. And that's okay to do that because I tend to be my own worst critic sometimes and push myself to say just go go go, but I've done that in the past and it never it never quite works out the way you want because there comes a point in time when the body and the mind, at least for me, says okay, I'm done, I'm shutting down. And then it seems like a tougher battle when they force me to rest than when I just go ahead and let myself have that time. Um, so
Mm.
yeah, I'm gonna apply that this week and spend more time enjoying the reflection and solitude, and less time worrying about what I'm not doing in that time,
Right.
and just let the process, let it just be, it's do what it does, right? Just let the process be the process and follow it, and until it tells me it's time to do something different. So
Right. So there are a few things that you brought up. Number one, you started off with what other people have told you,
mhm,
and we get feedback from the world, and we
right.
can sit with that and say, what is this coming to tell me? Sometimes we get triggered by people, and that's also messages in there for us, and sometimes it resonates with us. Yeah, yeah, that's what you said. I feel heard. Um, and the other thing you said is, I just need to put out the voices that say, do. I need to quieten them a bit. And again, if you can just say, okay, I hear you. And what are you wanting to tell me? Oh, I should do X, Y, and Z. Okay, I hear you. And now I'm just going to rest a bit. It's the more you push against them, the more they'll push against you. So if you can just, okay, you know what? I'm getting up now because I cannot rest. Or I hear you and I'm even going to write it down. I need to do this and I need to do that. And then say, okay, I'll get that done. But I need to rest. And then the last thing that I wanted to say is talk about the weary traveler, is to just honor your humanness.
Mm,
Yes, we need to rest. Otherwise, we would be robots, right?
right.
We needed to rest. I'm just reminded of the latest, I think it's the latest, just heard about this yesterday, feature on WhatsApp where you can speed people's messages up.
Mm,
Have you seen that feature?
no, not yet.
By one or two, whatever speeds. And then you hear someone going, I want to meet you. And all I find myself doing is laughing. I put it on the speed and I just laugh. There's no reality to the message at all. But I'm almost sad that we have to speed everything up, and that just adds to our stress. So the more you can just, okay, I know I need to do a bunch of other things. That's okay. I hear you. I'm just resting now. I'm here now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's sometimes I think it's a tough thing to admit that you just have to be where you're be trust in your mind, trust in your heart, and let it kind of guide the way, um,
Yeah, you're
instead of
exactly
trying to
where you're
control
supposed
everything.
to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Thank you, Brian. This was great.
Yep, thank you very much.